everybody, and welcome to Grace Speaks. My name is Chris Carpio, and I'm one of the hosts here. And along with us today, we also have...
I'm Katya Gonzalez.
And I am Mike Vecchio. I am a pastor here and also one of the hosts.
And we have a special guest with us today, and his name is...
I'm Al Milford. Glad to be here with you today.
Yeah, definitely. We're glad to have you.
Yes.
And the reason we have Al on today is because one of the things that we want to do in this podcast is highlight some of the local ministries that we have going on that we're also connected with as Grace Church, right? And highlighting those is, I think, really important to us because we just came out of a whole Kingdom conference where we were looking at missionaries that are less local to us. But we also have a ton of things and ways that we can get involved right now as a church. And for us, one of the things that we're passionate about is Smile, which is what Al is the president of, which is super cool.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, Al, I mean, let's just jump into it, right? We have how would you describe Smile as a ministry?
So first of all, let me tell you what Smile is.
Yeah.
It's the Stephen Milford Independent Living Experience. That's the acronym, Smile.
Okay.
My son Stephen has Down syndrome.
Oh, okay.
And so when he was a little boy, we signed him onto this program. So someday he would wind up going into like a quote-unquote group home where they can live with other people with the same kind of abilities and disabilities.
Yeah.
So the Smile, the thought of Smile was, came way down the road because I got good and sick and thought that we were going to have a problem, like I'm getting ready to punch out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I contacted the agency to, like they tell you have stage 4 cancer, you better start getting your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So now we were saying, okay, well, what happens now if I'm going to leave? Well, I better get something going for Stephen, like now, right?
Yeah.
So we we contacted the agency where we thought we would be like placed right away, and they said, well, do you know that there's like 3,800 people in front of Stephen?
Wow.
And my wife was like, we signed him up in 3rd grade.
3,800 people.
Yes, waiting for a home that are in the same position like we kind of were.
Wow.
So that's what we were blown away. So it was like, okay, well, what are we going to do about it then, right? If we're not going to be able to get him placed anywhere, we got to do something. So I contacted Chris Colabella, my dear friend, and so I told him what's going on, and he says, he was just coming off the board of a big project that he was working on with Veritas School, and he was wondering, what did God have next on his plate?
Wow.
So we started talking, and next thing you know, we were like, this sounds like a good ministry that we can get something going. We'll start something for Stephen. So we will get this thing going. So we originally come off the ground thinking we're just going to do something for Stephen and a few people that he knew.
Yeah.
And then Chris did some more homework, and he came back and said, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
We got to do, there's so many.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to do something, as many as we can.
Right.
Yeah.
The need was
So,
high.
yeah, so we kind of like embrace that as, okay, we're going to do this as many as we can. So all of that sounds good. And then you go off and you start trying to raise funds to even do the first one.
Yeah.
So we have a really good fundraiser, and we had, like 100 people, maybe a little over 100 people there. We had all these different auction items. It was at the Meadowwood Manor. It was a really beautiful dinner and nice entertainment and everything. And we get everyone together, and we had a great fundraiser. We raised like $50,000.
Wow.
Well, that sounds great, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to getting a building together and staffing and people and all that. And but we're on our way. We're gonna get this thing going, and we're gonna get going. And in the meantime, I'm getting more and more ill, and Chris says, "Look, I gotta tell you what's going on here. Sit down." And okay, what's happening? He says. What we had done is we had drawn up the building plans because I cut ahead to the thing, but Chris donated the property next to his building to us. Yeah. So let's find a way we can build a building now. We have property, we know where we're going to be. So he says, sit down. I got to tell you this, that God is doing his thing here. And the building that we want to build, we have a possibility of having this gentleman who's developing this property on the lake to build our building. I'm like, what do you mean build our building? He says, well, they need these credits, these COA credits, which are low-income housing credits. So when you're building a real upscale development around, you have to build so much, you have to offset it with the low-income housing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Chris made a connection through this guy to build our building for the COA credits.
Wow.
A 4,000 square foot building.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is beautiful, beyond anything you could imagine.
Yeah.
So the building it took a while. We had our headaches and everything. Eagles wind up on the property where the other guy was developing his thing. It was nuts. So,
oh my gosh.
But listen, so again, God just does his thing along the way. Anyway, the bottom line is that building came together for that.
Yeah.
And now there's 5 guys living there that are all doing fantastic. They get along better than brothers.
Yeah.
They don't fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brothers fight.
Yeah.
Right,
Brothers, they get along great, and the Spirit is there. The Holy Spirit is there and sensed in that building by anybody that comes in. The guys, 3 of the guys want to come to church, and 2 of them are where you got to kind of drag along, and sometimes it's not the same, but they're hearing the gospel. They come on Sunday. They hear. They know. They pray at their meals. They're talking about God. It's a good place. A quick story about the Holy Spirit. This woman got assigned from the Herald to do a little article on Smile.
Yeah.
And so the day she's supposed to go, she says she was running late. It's raining. It starts pouring rain as she's getting to her car. Her hair gets saturated. Her clothes are saturated. She didn't want the assignment in the first place. She had to be honest. She didn't want to do this. She gets there, and she's frustrated as all get out. She walks through the front door and goes, this feeling of peace just blasted her.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
What's going on over there? What's going on? It's the Holy Spirit dwells there. So people that come to visit, they get it. They get it. They get it so much that they want to be involved. They want to grow it. They want to show it. And the Lord said in Matthew 25, whatever you do for the least, you do for me.
Yeah.
Right? So that ministry has reached people that you never thought it would. People that didn't have any faith. People see it. They want to be involved. They know, look, it's a place where you want to be when you're down.
Right.
Because it lifts you up. And they have this simple faith that we should have. And that's like, look, my father's got this.
Yeah.
I don't got to worry.
Right.
My dad's got that.
Yeah.
Whether it's a big deal or small, well, broke the phone, bummer. Beds, whatever happens,
Right.
bummer. God's got this. And that's how we need to be.
Yeah.
The opportunities for us to share with our community, with the people in business around. We've been to breakfast at different places and places like the Elks Club and, and just like telling the story about what God's doing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Right? It's opened doors to share the gospel without saying, hey, I'm coming to share the gospel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So that ministry field is wide open. That community is full of families, that moms and dads that were brokenhearted, that when their child is born with a problem like that, it's hard to imagine how hurt you feel when, look, I thought my son was going to be an athlete. All of them, right? Every dad thinks he's got to hit baseballs or play football or do something, big thing. And it goes from that to like, wow, I hope he can make his bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Geez, I hope he'll be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's really deflating, right? Instead, now, those people that are vulnerable, they find a way to come.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people have come to Christ just from knowing my family.
Yeah.
Knowing Stephen and the guys in my family over and over. So that's the mission field, is wide open for us to hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is. It's
That was like a
cool.
lot of time you covered in there too.
I'm really
right?
sorry. I don't know how long we're supposed
No,
to be.
no, I
No,
don't
it's
mean,
okay.
I don't mean that.
You mean along this scale?
Yeah,
of life?
yeah, just like a scale of
yeah,
life. Yeah, it's because I was looking at your website and I was watching the video that you have on your website, and one of the things you have on there is your timeline, right?
Oh, isn't it cool?
Yeah, it's on there, and you have from like 2010 is like when you initially started it.
That's exactly right.
To then 2017 was when like the house was kind of finally like
Mm-hmm.
built, and that's a long period of time.
Yeah.
It is, and a lot of work.
And a lot of work.
And a lot of work.
And then a lot of like things to come up in the midst of that. Like, did you think when you first started this that it was going to take you like 7 years or?
No. Originally, you know what I thought, to tell you the truth, is I thought when we did that first fundraiser, we'd have raised like $250,000 and we'd have been able to go off and do something right away.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, look, everybody knows it's a big need. They're going to do what they can. They're going to try and help us the best we can. And, you know some people with the means to be able to do big helps if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. It happened God's way.
Yeah.
Right?
And then during the time you were battling cancer?
Yeah, I actually, it was at the very beginning, you crawl, right? So we
Right.
got started in 2010. It takes forever to get the a 501c3 straightened out. That took like 2 years.
Wow.
Well, you know what it is that because we named it Stephen Milford Independent Living Thing Experience, they said, look, it can't be about one.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And it was like, of course not. It's
No,
about
right.
the whole community, right?
Yeah.
But their attitude,
It's the inspiration.
the people
Right.
giving these the certifications for 501c3, you got to convince this whole group
Wow,
of people.
yeah.
So it's paper back and forth, and Chris's office did everything for us, but
Yeah.
it just took forever. So by the time we even got to the point to where we were certified to accept a donation, took 2.5 years or so. So
Wow.
it took forever.
Right.
But again, God doing His thing, like you can't deny that.
Yeah.
We were raising $50,000 on an effort that we worked so hard for,
Yeah.
and God comes along and says, "Yeah, I got that.
Right.
Yeah.
I got that."
Praise
So if I
God.
could squish that timeline a little bit towards where we are today, so we've been trying to get going and do the second one now, right? We're
Right.
established. We have a great staff. God blessed us with people. There was a young lady that was Stephen, they call support coordinator. She did a lot of things with summer camps and things like that along the way. And we had met her taking care of Stephen, going to summer camp, and she became his support coordinator right after the guy that was doing it, who was really way out of his element. He could really not handle the job well.
Yeah.
So it's a pain in the neck to try and get different programs in line so they take
Yeah.
care of the guys, the YMCA or whatever they
Right.
could do to keep busy and educate them and all.
Yeah.
But that guy just was not qualified for the job. Then we wind up with this young lady who was like, pop. Oh, no, he should be doing this. He should be doing that. Why isn't he bowling Special Olympics? We got to,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So
wow.
all of a sudden, our guy's got life, man. He's doing stuff,
yeah.
right? And so long before we had the house or anything, I said to her, I said, Susan, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your plan? What's your goals? And she said, well, you want to know? My boyfriend and I, we want to do what you're doing.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. Perfect. I mean, again, a divine intervention.
Right.
This girl out of the blue wants to do that.
Right.
And you're ready to leave her job to
Wow.
come alongside of us and do this. And
Yeah.
they are unbelievable. You can't imagine how good they do their job. They are fantastic. Now they're married. They have a little girl,
Yeah.
another baby on the way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we zip forward to here. So now everything's in play. We're doing really good, and we know our goal is to do more right away.
Yeah.
So we start trying to fundraise again to save more money, and we're doing pretty good along the way. We're raising monies and saving monies and doing good things and being out there and trying to get it together, but it's still going to take us years before we can do another house.
Yeah.
Years.
Okay.
And we had a gentleman come in who, again, a friend of Chris Galbellas,
Yeah.
comes to visit us at Smile. He was a client to Chris and Mark Gruber, the lawyers, and so he visits the house, and again, that sense of the Holy Spirit, not a saved man.
Yeah.
But he senses something really.
Yeah.
The guys take him through the house, and Mike, they all have their personality, right? Every
Yeah.
room is different.
Yeah.
Who's a Yankee fan? Who loves the, Cowboys and Indians? Who's a farm guy? Or, who's a wrestling nut or whatever. So they all have their own thing. One guy's a big gamer. He's got this big screen TV, and he's awesome at these games. He'd kill you every time. I challenge anybody you guys. But he's that good. But they're all, and so they turned this guy into like one of them.
Yeah.
And he comes down from visiting. He is glowing, this guy.
Wow.
Glowing. He's like, oh, man. So they took a big picture with him, and everything was really nice. Now, we knew he was a man of means. Don't like he make a nice donation. But he ends up saying that evening that Chris and Mark met with him, and he said, look, if you find a piece of property, I'll buy it.
Wow.
If you hire an architect,
Come
I'll pay
on,
him.
yeah.
When you find the builder, I'll pay him.
Wow.
Let's do a house. The next day, he met with Chris again, and he had changed his mind and said, we need to move out like now. And he wrote us a check for $500,000.
Wow.
My goodness.
So
That's crazy.
now we're on a mission.
Yeah.
Well, Chris has this gentleman that wants to do houses.
Okay.
This is his first one. And on all the houses that he does, he wants a little smiley outside for the smile. Good. We're going to go find a house now. So we spent 4 months looking everywhere.
Yeah.
Looking, like I was telling the guys before, 30 minutes away, trying to find something so we can put some more guys in there. So
Right.
we're trying to move out on this. Losing them because we're getting outbid nowadays.
Right.
If somebody lists a house for 400,
Yeah.
you're going to pay 450 for
That
it or better.
That was me
Yeah.
a few months ago. Looking, yeah.
Well, we had a house that was, we bid $60,000 over the asking price and didn't get it.
Right.
60,000 over the price that it's
that's
crazy.
insane.
It is crazy.
It's
That's
absolutely
crazy.
insane. So like I was saying, Mike, before I got so frustrated before Christmas, I just had enough. Enough. I'm done looking. One of the guys on the board was saying, maybe we need to lower our expectations, and you're expecting too much. And I'm going, Mike, these houses are worth $250. They got it listed at $450, and people are outbidding us.
Right.
It's crazy. I can't see it. I just can't see it. In the meantime, the building you need needs to be kind of big, because you're going to have 4 or 5 adults always living there, plus staff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, because the bathroom subject a little bit, sometimes somebody has a problem.
Right.
So somebody needs to be able to get in there and help them with a problem. So the bathrooms need to be oversized, if you will.
Right.
You have these kind of issues. And so
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot out there, even though I'm looking at everything. How do we renovate it, whatever, within our means? Now, I'm all fed up, like I said. So done. I'm done looking. It's Christmas time. I'm finished. Chris calls again. What do you think about this house around the corner from Smile? And we go and look at it, and it's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
almost 4,000 square feet like the other building.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all brick.
Wow.
And he sold it to us for over the money that we had.
Wow.
Wow.
Now it needs to be renovated. It needs to be renovated. There's a lot of work to do on it.
Yeah.
Chris, we were going like, how does that work financially? What we have, and now it's going to cost us every penny that we got. We thought we'd be able to buy something and get it right for us
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
monies. Well, the guy came back and wrote us another check.
Wow.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
He wants to do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
God's doing
Yeah.
this. He's using that guy. He's using that guy, a non-believer, to do his work.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
So we want to stay in our circles all the time. I want to hang with people
Right.
that know Jesus. They love Jesus. It's fun. But you know what?
Right.
You need to be with those people because he's working through them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy is, I'm sure of it. I am sure of it, that before he closes his eyes, he will come to Christ.
Yeah.
You know, like, that about some people. You know it, like,
Yeah.
he's right there.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
Yeah.
God builds this chain, right? And it's all in God's time. It doesn't matter. We can't do anything, right? God builds this chain all around people that are going to come to him. And when it's finally right and the time is right,
Yeah.
the words are right, God does his thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm praying for this guy all the time. this guy Jack, pray for him too.
Yeah,
we will be.
Definitely. Yeah. And anybody listening, I mean, take a moment and pray for him.
Yeah.
His name's Jack. Yeah, Jack.
Jack, that's good enough. Just Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool to be able to like hear. I mean, I think just like the testimony of like how, every time it's like I have this way, but then God's like, no, just wait. Just wait, and then I've got something better,
Right.
I've got something, and then even when you do get it, right, you got the house, but then you were like, okay, but we only got a couple pennies left over, and then God's like, no, don't worry, I'm going to use Jack, and then you're going to get even more than what you originally thought that you had.
Right. So here we were looking for this house, 30 minutes away, can't find nothing.
Right.
Now we're walk around the corner for staffing and everything, and not only it's a 2-family setup.
Oh, wow.
So before we were trying to get can we get something going where we could put 4 guys in it? That would be great. Well, we could put 7 here.
That's
right
huge.
from the 2. Way bigger than you could ask or imagine, like the word says.
Absolutely.
Way bigger. Who would have imagined that? That's crazy. Around the corner.
Yeah.
Around the corner for staff to work out properly and everything. It's just only God.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I mean, we had questions, but like honestly, you answered like pretty much all of them. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Did I kill your
that's
time?
no. Literally, we got all the time in the world right now. These are meant to be kind of long form, so it's totally fine. But it's cool because we just got to listen. Sometimes questions are there just to help prompt the conversation forward, but with you just this is your passion, this is your heart. It's just pouring out of you, and
it's very encouraging.
Yeah, it's super encouraging. I think anybody listening can know that the reason that you're doing this is to build the kingdom. It's to serve those who, need to be served. And I mean, from what you said at the beginning, are neglected because there's so many people who are waiting for housing that don't have it available to them. Yep. And you're taking the initiative to fill that gap. Which is awesome.
Yeah, we're just doing what God wants us to do.
Yeah, glory to God.
But what I do know is that there's a voice for people, right? And so there's a voice for women that have been abused. There's a voice for children with cancer. There's a voice for people that go to war and have something happen. But who's their voice?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if they can't. Some of them can't even communicate.
Can't communicate at all, right? And so a parent, a grandparent, whoever, and we're only coming to the realization that if you're my daughter, I can't leave my son or daughter with a problem for you for the rest of your life. That's not your son or daughter.
Yeah.
People just assumed, well, my son Chris will take care of him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, Chris has a life, and Chris is going to get married to Gloria, and there's all this good stuff happening. But well, no, Chris, you're going to have to take care of your brother because I'm sick now.
Yeah.
That's really hard. Or they wind up in places you would imagine.
Yeah.
There's just not enough places to put them. They put them in like insane asylums.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, my guy's a soft soul.
Yeah.
Beautiful, peaceful guy,
Yeah.
It's not going to work for them.
Right.
It's just not. In this spot, oh, man, it's amazing.
Right.
It is amazing. And so we'll come visit.
Yeah.
Come check it out.
No,
come
yeah.
visit.
Yeah.
Encourage your groups of peeps to come visit.
Yeah.
Come check it out. These guys range in age, but there's like 3 of them close to your age, and then there's a couple older guys. But they're just come check it out. And you tell me if you sense the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I the whole time you've been talking, I'm like, I want to walk through those doors. Yeah.
You know what's nuts? Did you ever see the movie Angels in the Outfield?
Yes. Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Right?
I don't know why I like it so much.
When Stephen was a little boy, sometimes at church he would stand up and
Start waving.
Start flapping his wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
go like, wow, that's what's going on. And look, there are Sundays you go to church and it's church. And there are some days when the hairs on the back of your head just stand up.
Yeah.
Yup.
Right? And you leave there going like, wow, that was really good church. That's what grace is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're being fed. When you're fed like that, you come out, you're full of the Spirit, you're ready to go again for the week, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to miss. But please find a way to come. Maybe you find a way to serve. Maybe there's people that may want to be part of staff.
Right.
right? So we now have this new building coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to have 2 floors of people.
Right.
We need to hire staff.
Right. There's a
Yeah.
need.
We need
Yeah.
good, and you know what would be the best? To have good, godly people go and take
Yes.
those positions, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the beat goes on. Every home, like, we are not a Christian organization.
Yeah.
We are an organization run by Christians.
Okay. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work the other way. The programs of, statism doesn't want it to be that way. A
Yeah.
Christian organization
Yeah.
is not a good thing.
Yeah.
But we are a good organization run by Christians.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is
So
awesome,
if you see it in your hearts, or people that even over the summertime or whatever, come visit. They're always doing stuff. They go camping, they
Right.
go fishing, they go swimming, they get boat rides, they do things. It's so enjoyable. My goodness.
That's
It's
awesome.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
To God be the glory.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. 100%. Wow.
I actually have a question
Yeah.
for you. I have an aunt that she has a son that's autistic, and I have heard her cries and her, just the heaviness that every season she kind of goes through with him. But just seeing like the brokenness in that, and what the weight that she carries. Is there something that you would want to say to parents that have kids with disabilities? I don't know, that could just be struggling with the day-to-day.
That's a great question, but I'll tell you something. This time frame is like the greatest it's ever been for us. The greatest. The whole world didn't look to them now before. Now they do. We know what an autistic spectrum looks like.
Right.
There's a great thing going on in Denville, New Jersey. I don't know where your aunt is.
She's actually in Denville.
So does she you celebrate the children? Or
I-
perfect them?
I think so.
I can give you some connection
Yeah.
right after this when
Okay.
we're done.
Yeah, that'd be
I
great.
don't want to just blurt somebody's
Yeah.
name out here. But there is phenomenal goodness in getting your son or daughter placed in the right spot
Right.
where they are doing stuff together with other people. That's our mantra too. Like, no matter where anybody is, we will put people together according to their abilities.
Right.
Right? So if everybody's in a wheelchair, then nobody's disabled, right?
Yeah.
If only one is, then everybody's taking care of
Right.
that one disabled person, right? If everybody has whatever problem they have and they're all the same, it works. But when you find somewhere where your son or daughter can plug in and smile, you did it,
Right.
right? What makes them happy,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But it's hard. Like, you feel for parents. You really
Yeah.
do. It's devastating. Like, I want to, one side of me wants to go and be, I don't know, somebody that'll talk to somebody in the hospital when their kid's born and they get told they have a problem, you know? And the other side of me, like, that it's so emotionally hard to do that. Even with all the goodness that comes out of it, it's just hard. But sometimes that the change that needs to happen in us as people, you need something real hard to make it happen, right? And see, iron
Yeah.
sharpens iron,
Yeah.
right? But and that's not because you go like this and rub it together. It's like when iron hits iron.
Right.
Well, you know what? I had an iron heart. I was iron, and it's through. My first son had 2 open heart surgeries before he was 1. Then
Wow.
Stephen was born, but that I needed a sharpening. I needed changing, and it wouldn't have happened unless that happened.
Right.
So you have to be able to look up and what's God telling me now
Right.
in the middle of all of this, back to where you're going, right? In
Yeah.
the middle of all of this heartbreak, this tough time, what is God telling me?
Yeah.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Do you know that some of the greatest periods in history were some of the toughest periods in history, that we read through the Bible and we just glance right over it and we don't really even think about it?
Yeah.
You know? It's wild, like when the Exodus happened, what happened just before the Exodus? All the babies, baby boys, I think it was 2 years and younger, all murdered. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. And then the Exodus happened. Well, when Jesus was born, what happened? What did Herod do?
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing.
He killed all the. It was brutal. It was brutal, right? And then look what happens, right? What happens in our lives too? You have these struggles, these hurts, these pains, and things change. God's doing His thing. He changes the hearts of people, right? That's what has to happen. And so we change. And once you figure it out, life is good. You give it to God, and life is good.
Right.
You know. So again, back to those parents. You know, if you don't know God, you need to.
Right.
If you do know Him, get closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and you know what? And if you're good and close, well, then get closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, listen, and I'll tell you again. I don't want to make it about me, but just knowing when I was good and sick, I was so close. Oh man.
Right.
Oh man, I was like so tight. My sister gave me this book from Sarah Young. It's called Jesus Calling.
Oh yeah, the devotional.
Yeah, devotional. And it was like powerful every morning. And that's where we need to be, right?
Right.
Every morning, get started, get close, draw near to God. What are you going to show me today? What am I going to do?
Right.
How, you know, help me act the right way in the right place. You know, help me serve you right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I feel
good.
for
Thank
your
you.
aunt.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot to be. I really do. We meet. Stephen has gangs he hangs around with. Okay, so there's on Friday night. There's about 20 people, 25 people. It's called Circle of Friends.
Okay.
And he has another group on Saturday night. They call themselves a friendship group. We have Tuesday nights at our facility where they play games or do crafts and things like that. So he hangs around with a lot of people. And so I meet a lot, you know, of all different levels of problems, if you will. And it's incredible that some of the young people with the worst problems are the happiest.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How can that be? But guess what, man? If they know Jesus, they know what these other people don't know.
Yeah.
You know? And so maybe it's a little easier to get to that point. I don't know, that point where I say keep getting closer.
Right.
Maybe they're so close, they're right there. I don't know. But it's amazing how somebody's sitting there that, you know, has a thing in his mouth so he can poke something on a keyboard. Can be happy.
Yeah.
Crazy happy.
Right.
He didn't move nothing else. He's just doing this.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a young lady that paints pictures. She's phenomenal. Like that. Paints pictures and does calendars and things. It's amazing the skills and what God's given them to express themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so
cool.
awesome.
Even speaking to that point about, you know, people who can't, you know, people who are disabled to the point where, like you said, they can't move anything, like maybe even below their neck, or they can't move at all. Like I knew someone who used to babysit a young boy who was, I think, 6, 7, 8 years old maybe, and he could not move anything by himself, and he could barely even swallow by himself. Like he couldn't have, like they had to put a tube directly into his stomach in order for him to get fed. But the only things that he could do were smile and frown and laugh and things like that. But even just like basic things that they would do, like, you know, go for a walk in the park or something like that, or, you know, play games at home where, you know, they would just be interacting with them. That brought them so much joy just to have someone doing something with them. And that's huge. And one of the things that I find most interesting about you guys, and that we were talking about your timeline before and how it took you guys, you know, a couple years to get your building going. But even before that, you guys started in 2010, right? In 2011, something came out in the Star Ledger about there were, I think, 8,000 people that needed placement, disabled people that needed placement, and just over 200 of them were the only ones that received placement. And here you are, you know, of course, saying, you know, how many guys can we get into our house at once? Like, you know, you with your second building, you know, you wanted to get 4 in, but now you're able to get 7, and that's huge, just for that field in general. And, you know, one thing I want to ask is about this type of mission field, about this, you know, field of work that you guys are in. What's something that is maybe not on your website or you haven't said before that you want people to know about this specific type of field? Like whether they, you know, are observing it or whether they want to go into it, if they want to maybe join staff on Smile. What's one thing that they should know coming into this that, like, this is what you should know from doing this for years?
Well, I'll tell you, thanks. That's a great question, but I will tell you this. I'm glad for where we are. I'm glad that we're able to do something, right? But I also look at it like, we've been at this for a long time already. What have we done? What have we done? And it's nothing. My son has a great place, My son has a great place. But what have we really done? We've done nothing. When you really look back at all the people, what have we done as a church? We've done nothing. Look at all the people that don't know him. We've done nothing. So until we get to that, until we can all celebrate together, that's got to be our focus. I can share this one thing that people might be able to. Please pray for people. Go out of your way to say hello to somebody at the restaurant. My kids are acclimated to that. They would be like magnet to steel on somebody in a wheelchair. Where other people watch that. Somebody goes in a room, you look around at some people that back up.
Yeah.
Right.
And other people go forward, right?
Right.
Go forward.
Right.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Go forward. Go talk to that guy that doesn't look quite right. Go smile at somebody. Hey, go give him a kiss on the cheek. Go give him a brother a hug. Don't be afraid. How lonely.
You're good.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Those guys in the wheelchair. How lonely a life. How to only communicate with your mom or your dad or one person. Oh, no, there's nobody. Go give some time to somebody that needs it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. I think that's huge. Just that, that don't avoid, but go forward.
Right.
It's so big.
Go help. Go plug in. Go talk. It takes 20 seconds to see a guy with a Jet jersey on or something and say, "Oh, sorry, you're a Jet fan." Just go. You know what I mean? Just
I like how that's
Apologies to all the Jet fans listening to this.
well, good. I'm a Giant fan. I know what the
Oh,
feeling's
okay,
like.
there we go.
But at least the thing is, my point is that look, they're so lonely inside.
Yeah.
They would love it. Look, some pretty girl comes said hello to me. Oh, they light up forever.
Yeah.
We used to have a group that would come here on Sunday when I was young. They would come early in the morning, and they were all wheelchair bound. And Bobby Graver would bring them on Sunday morning, and there was a few vans that would come out, and they'd come wheeling in and everything, and it was awesome. I got close to this one guy named Shamar, and I baptized him.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wheelchair guy, right? It was beautiful, right? It's a lonely life. That's a great question you asked, and we can all do that. Just
Absolutely.
30 seconds, 60 seconds of your time. Go engage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Engage.
Yeah. That's such an amazing call to action too, because is that something that, that we do in everyday life?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but if that's uncomfortable for us, we're going to be called to do things that we're maybe uncomfortable with our entire lives.
Yeah.
So there is no reason why we shouldn't, like you said, even just go out of our way and give 30 seconds of time to somebody like that. And that is, that woke me up. What you just said woke me up. So, and that even has given me a charge to go and do those things.
Cool.
So I thank you for saying that.
Well, sorry, choked me up.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what? When I was raised, we weren't allowed to cry. My mother was rough. We just tough Lithuanian lady. You just didn't cry.
Yeah.
And when my kids were born, I told you my heart was changed. Now I'm like mushy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love much.
Yeah.
I love much.
Yeah.
And
very
I
evident.
know the pain of your aunt.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart. But it's even harder for the guy or daughter or whatever that can't relate to anybody.
Right.
So they're like locked in this little thing in their
Right.
mind. Like they can't talk to you. They can't talk to you.
Right.
You're a handsome person. You're not going to want to talk to me. You're a pretty girl. You're not going to want to talk to me. I'm going to sit here and put my head down.
Right.
We got a guy at Smile who always was like that. Head down, quiet, hardly looked either side or anything. He wound up getting awards from SCARC and everything. As a matter of fact, they just got another thing from the doctor that he goes to get checkups on and everything, talking about the unbelievable advancement that this young man has made over the time he's been at Smile. You know why? Because they're with other people.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing. They didn't talk before. Well, they talk now, and they mix it up, and they do things. It's really incredible. It's a blessing and a half. It's what a wonderful thing to get involved in, you know?
Yeah.
So I thank God for it.
Praise
I really
God.
do.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like, I'm still stuck on the whole move forward thing. Just because like when we choose not to move forward, that's like a really selfish like perspective. Like, oh, I don't want to feel uncomfortable in this moment, you know? But I think what you're communicating, and the reason I think it's sticking with me is because it's like 30 seconds of discomfort for me that I can avoid or, you know, like hours worth of joy that I give to someone else by just letting them feel like, you know, normal.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
And just like let them feel seen, which is something like no matter who you are, everyone wants to be seen, you know, and we, you know, just because of the way that we are, we get the opportunity to be seen more often, but some people just get avoided their whole lives. And if you know what it means to be avoided, whether because, you know, maybe sociably you're not as like apt as other people, or because, you know, one thing or another in your life, you feel like you've been avoided, how much more, you know, should you go out of your way to make sure that no one else feels that way, that no one else feels avoided, that no one else feels like they can't be seen or that they aren't loved. And it's just like a simple, like, hello, you know, like that's a game changer.
Yeah, it is. Go a fist bump high, you know, again, you know, you ever been like around somebody who, you know, a young lady who, you know, she maybe her body's just not right, or she's distorted, and you go over and give them a kiss on the cheek, you would think like, oh, there's an ear-to-ear smile. It's just all about you. Like you would come to me and, you know, show some love, and you normally don't even think about it. You go, oh, she probably doesn't want me, or he doesn't want me to say, why you're like intruding. That's not the truth. And you can kind of read it, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
as you're approaching somebody, if they're like lighting up that you're coming over to talk to them, you can go a little further. If you see them peel back a little bit, you can, you know, you can.
Some discernment there.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you want to get used to being around some guys, come visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visit, smile, come play cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, play Uno or whatever, a little game or whatever, or do crafts with them or something, you know?
Everybody loves Uno.
Yeah. You're not for money.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the only way I know how to play it. So. I'm just kidding. But Al, man, thank you so
Yes,
much
thank
for
you.
being
Yeah,
on.
thank you. Thank you for having me so much.
Yeah, we've appreciated your time and your testimonies.
Yes.
And I think anybody who's listening, I think, you know, whether you were directly interested in Smile or not, like I think you probably are now, and whether you really even knew anything about this field, I think there's definitely takeaways that you have just as like a person, even if you're not ever going to be directly involved in providing housing for people with disabilities. Now you can walk away and know, you know what, next time I'm out and I see someone, you know, I'm going to give them the attention that they deserve.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's huge. That's just one thing that's so awesome. So thank you, Al, for being obedient to the Lord, and, you know, seeking his will in your life, and not waiting for someone else to take care of a problem that you were made aware of, which is big.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for everybody else, we will catch you in our next episode.
Yes.
Don't forget, pray for Jack, pray for Al, and pray for Smile,
Yes.
because prayer is powerful, and that's what changes
Amen.
lives.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys in the next one.
Absolutely. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.